welcome to Stone Upon Stone, Episode 15, Lies We Tell Each Other. Before the break, I talked about terms and conditions and how we could have peace by putting some common sense limits on what they can allow companies and authors to bind. Continuing the theme that all warfare is based on deception, I'd like to talk about some lies that society tells us and how we can have peace by not believing them. I'm fine. The Urban Dictionary estimates that this is the most frequently told lie by humans worldwide. We're not, by and large, fine. We all have things we're going through. We tell it because we don't want to burden others. We tell it because we don't think there's time to explain. We tell it because we don't take seriously the question of how we're doing. We treat others as enemies when we deceive them. That's what we often forget about this. We tell it because we don't trust people to care. But this is the result, this treating others as enemies by deceiving them. It's one of the results of a culture of rage. This lie is more a symptom of another lie than its own thing, though. That lie, the one that this is a symptom of, is that you need to be fine or you're failing your friends. And that simply is not true. Other lies are told more to us than by us, and that's the focus of this episode. One of these is, this group that isn't trying to hurt you is your enemy. If they're not hurting you or trying to, why are they your enemy? First, we need to ask, are they really hurting you? I'm talking here about substantive. I'm talking here about substantive harm. We're talking about permanent damage. We're talking about property damage. We're talking about emotional scarring. Not just annoyance. We're talking about emotional scarring here, not just annoyance. So this is permanent damage, property damage, and emotional scarring. Now, consider that as opposed to emotional dislike, which is annoyance, not harm. It's, I have a choice of a reaction. I have a choice to not be hurt. It's any damage that it's when any damage present is quickly recoverable damage. It's when what was upset is writable disorder. Can it be put back in its place to where the event would be unnoticeable? Such as when a stack of firewood is scattered but can be restacked. You have to ask yourself, is what was upset a writable disorder? Can it be put back in its place to where the event would be unnoticeable? Such as if a stack of firewood is scattered, but it can be restacked easily? Another lie is, your experience is unique. No one can understand it. Is it unique? What's unique about it? What is unique about your experience? Is it really not like anything else? We're not talking about identicality, like this is the exact same experience that somebody else is going through. We're talking about substantial similarity. Is it really something that's experienced by only you and maybe a few other people in the world? You need to understand how common the experience is. And you need to understand that your opponents and your friends get flat tires too. Is this experience really so hard to imagine and understand? Or could someone reasonably competent imagine and understand what you're going through? On the other hand, we have the lie, your experience is just like everyone else's and no one cares. Is it really that common? There are aspects of your experience that are different. Your life is unique. Now, while that doesn't mean that other people can't understand your experience, it does mean that your experience is not going to be completely alien to other people. Does everyone go through this, and does it affect them in the same way? No. Does its banality bring apathy, or is it going to be a point of bonding or relatability between you and another person? Often it is. Now, the next lie is being an individual, and by being an individual they mean bucking convention, gives you power. The next lie is being an individual that is bucking convention gives you power. Power comes from relationships. It always has and it always will. Check out CGP Gray's video about rules for rulers if you have any questions. What connection power has with relationships. But in short, relationships and power both rest on the pillars of duties and responsibilities. To owe no duty is to have no power. Some people would rather have no power than meet duties. This next lie is that embracing your desires and whims will make you happy. People who follow a hedonistic lifestyle often end up miserable. People who win the lottery, for example, almost always end up poorer and less happy than they were before. Discipline and planning are largely what help us to reach fulfillment, and fulfillment is a major part of experiencing happiness. Lottery gamblers generally have neither. They don't have discipline and they don't have proper planning. There's a trend in many of these lies that you need to change your identity, who you are, in order to experience happiness. While you may need to change your attitudes, to keep from preventing happiness, being unhappy with your own identity rather than your behaviors and attitude choices is something that will keep you from experiencing happiness. So these lies actually make you less happy if you believe them. Lie, embracing another gender identity will make you happy. This is a popular one today, but studies have found that in the majority of cases, get values ranging from no benefit to an order of magnitude higher incidence of suicide attempts and depression. And that cost comes with no benefit. You don't need to be another gender in order to achieve your dreams. In almost all cases. You can be successful in the gender you were born in. It's okay. It's okay to be you. Even if your attitudes don't match up with what society says your gender should be like, that's okay. Mine don't. Here's the thing to remember about that. Society lies about these things. It's a lie to say that you have to think, feel, or be interested in certain things in order to be the gender that you are. You don't. You can have whatever interests you want, whether that's clothes or engineering or cooking or sports or colors or loud places or soft places, hard things, soft things, doesn't matter. If you like horses, you like weapons, you like coding, it's okay. Those things aren't about being male or female. And none of that keeps you from being the sex you are. So don't let that bother you. Be the person that you are. What about this lie? A lawn is the best thing to have around your house and the most beautiful. Truth is, flowers and fruiting plants bring pollinators, like these bees, and beauty to your house. And they smell nice too. Much better than a lawn. Growing a food forest is much better and much less labor intensive and much better for the environment and for your body than a lawn, because they require less labor and they require no chemicals. This year we've all been hearing this one. If elected, I will improve this. Truth is, most elected officials, unless they make no effort to be reelected, have to do a lot of horse trading to get anything done. And that means that most of them will end up not accomplishing what they promised, either through not understanding how to trade for it, or through not having enough to trade in order to get it. See, every gain will come at some loss. Whether it's caving in on another issue, or making so many enemies that you can't get reelected. You'll only serve one term. Now, what I really wish is that more politicians would serve one term and accomplish important improvements. But most of them won't do that. That aside, most offices have very little autonomous power. See the rules for rulers again to see how that works. You can't just say, well, I'm, willing to give up a second term in order to get things done. You also have to find a way to get those things done, because most of the things that people talk about changing aren't really in the power of the office that they're running for to change by themselves unilaterally. They have to get somebody else to agree to it. Another lie. You need to hurt those who stand against your desires. This lie feeds a gang mentality. It leads to anger and violence. And it does not build comfort or repair anything. And it ends up causing more trauma. So let's look at another lie on the other end of the spectrum, or on the same end of the spectrum, but talks about something on the other end. And that lie is that statesmanship is dead, or that statesmanship is pointless. See, someone has to make the first step toward peace. Kevin Pease wrote a comic about protective force versus retaliatory force, showing that if you push a pendulum toward your opponent with the aim of hitting the person opposite you, it comes back toward you with more force. But if you push the pendulum with the aim of reducing its force when it approaches you, less and less force comes back toward you. Statesmanship leads toward equilibrium, understanding, common good, cooperation, and community with others. Statesmanship recognizes that there is more that unites us than there is that divides us. Another lie is that anger gives you power. Anger does not give you power. Actually, anger takes your power away. Because an angry man may be directed by someone else, by those who are calm. and they may be redirected into doing what they would ordinarily not wish to do. Anger also leads to actions that invite retaliation. So that's a vicious cycle. It's a downward spiral. Just makes things worse and worse. Here's another lie. You can't coexist with people who disagree with you. Any contradiction becomes a reason to attack, and you don't accomplish anything productive. I think you can easily see how this is a lie and how dangerous it is. Another lie is other people's feelings don't matter, especially if it looks like they have an advantage. Now, this lie isn't usually stated this way. It's usually included in the excuse for doing something horrible to somebody else. Oh, it's okay because they're privileged. They're wicked people. They're mean-spirited monsters who want to take away your rights and hurt you and I don't know what else. But the fact is that this lie is pretty prevalent in our society. When we dismiss others' feelings, it's one step on the road to dehumanization. This is sometimes used as a justification to cancel or dox or persecute or even harm or kill opponents. And it has led to some of the worst moments in our world's history, often paired with this lie: these people will never change, and there's no way to be kind to them. People can and do change. Work on convincing them of the rightness of your point of view, instead of trying to demand that they follow your point of view because you say so or because you threaten them with reprisals or with violence. Instead, hold the moral high ground. Maybe you'll win someone to your point of view. Some chance is better than no chance, you know. Another lie: we live in a new era with new rules. The old rules don't apply. This suggests that we can ignore Hashem's laws because it was done away with. But the truth is, what Hashem said still stands. All of it. He doesn't change. His words remain the same, and they're applicable to this day. There's another lie. You have no value. Many in the world will not value you, especially if you don't help them achieve their desires. But you have value. Another lie: your value comes from agreeing with me. The truth is, you have inherent value because Hashem created you and loves you. Grow into that identity. Don't worry about agreeing with anyone. Seek truth and let others join you in truth at their own pace. The only way to be right is to be right, not to get others to agree with your errors. People believe many of these lies through laziness. So join me next time when I'll talk about laziness and how it keeps us from reaching peace. Are you enjoying these videos? Would you like to see more works I produce? I have started a page on Substack, and you can join in the fun and pledge your support for more content like this. My subscribers have access to all the videos in this series, notes and posts on other topics, and behind-the-scenes posts relating to my projects. Right now is a great time to visit my page and subscribe to see my art and social commentary as soon as it is posted. All of my work is produced without artificial creativity. I write my own stories and scripts and make all reasonable efforts to avoid AI tools. Special thanks goes out to Chris Howard for his faithful support of my works.